Gracias por continuar con nosotros aquí en Seguridad Total. Yo soy Ana María Salazar. Y hace unas semanas tuve la oportunidad de entrevistar a Frank Dukes, que es el creador de un sistema de defensa personal que se llama FAST. ¿Cómo aplicar estas técnicas en nuestra vida diaria? Bueno, eso fue lo que nos comentó aquí en Seguridad Total en su último viaje a México. Acompáñenme. Frank, tell us about FAST.
Okay, FAST stands for Focus, Action, Skill, Strategy, Tactics. And they're the 5 components for being successful in any part of your life. The secret to it is basically you have to maintain what we call the offensive mindset. You stay focused, undistracted on other tasks, stick with the point at hand. You act, not react to the situation. And that's really critical.
Because most of us react to a situation.
Exactly. And when you act, you actually have already had a pre-planned plan. And when you act, you always want to act in relation to your skills. A lot of times people, when they're in a self-defense situation or they're in a fight, I mean, you'll see guys on the street who've never thrown a spinning heel kick in their life try to throw a spinning heel kick because they saw it in a movie, you know, and which is kind of ridiculous, but they do it. You always want to act within the realm of your skills. But when you do this, you also want to have a strategy. What do you want to accomplish at the end of this fight or struggle that you're involved in? A lot of people don't have that direction, so they don't know how to provide themselves the proper tactics. And that's why the order is focus, action, skills, strategy, tactics. Your strategy will dictate what tactics you use.
This is all translated into a series of techniques that have become quite popular in terms of self-defense.
Yes, because FAST, again, it's a formula, it's a process. Now, what I teach and makes my system very different than most martial arts systems is the secret, basically, that most martial arts systems taught outside of Asia is missing. And that is, most martial arts systems are trained to do the conditioned reflex response. That's why when you train in the dojo and you go outside, when somebody attacks you, all of a sudden it falls apart. You can't make it work. It's not that the techniques you learned are inefficient. It's the fact that you haven't learned and acquired what we call the practiced reflex response. And that's what FAST is about. It's instilling the practiced reflex response in you, or what the Japanese call mushin, mind, no mind. And it's a process. It's a way of actually using the techniques so they're instinctive. You're moving in a way that moves in a relation that makes sense, that you're at the right place at the right time to use your techniques.
Let's talk about your background. We've been told that when a movie actually was made about your life, at least what you've done in martial arts. Tell us about that.
Well, the movie is called Bloodsport, and it actually just captures a very small portion of my life. But it was about when I fought unsanctioned matches, and it really is the predecessor of what you see the mixed martial arts phenomenon of today. In those days, many people wanted to test themselves competitively. It wasn't sanctioned. It wasn't organized, because martial arts, let's be realistic, was like football years ago when it first started, or baseball. They didn't, you know, football used to have sometimes 22, 40 people on one side of a game. But as time has evolved, you know, you see the MMA today with rules and what have you. In my day, we didn't have those rules in place. You could headbutt, you could elbow, but the degree of the competition was different also, because we didn't have books and videos, etc.
Amigos, ahora vamos a ver alguna de estas técnicas de FAST que nos va a demostrar Frank. Acompáñeme. Frank, what are we watching right now?
Well, we're going to watch a very common technique that you're seeing in like MMA fights, which is a defense against a rear choke. So what she's doing is loosening the grip around her throat and drawing his attention up to the arm, while she's bringing her hand down to get the groin. She's going to strike the testicles, and what she's going to do is pinch the testicle and actually break it or injure it. That, of course, is going to force him to release and want to back up psychologically because he wants to get away with the pain. She'll direct the elbow to the midsection or under the sternum, try to knock the wind out of him, also to create distance between him and her. But the real target area is getting his eyes. And what she's going to do is work her way up to the eyes. So what she can do is, by getting the eyes, she can scratch them, hurt the corneas enough to run away. We don't want to stick around in a situation like that, especially when the attacker's, you know, stronger and more powerful than us.
Techniques that are especially important for women is what to do once you're on the ground. Do you have what kind of techniques do you offer for that?
Well, one of the things I like to do is start right with learning how to deal with going to the ground. For example, in this situation, what we're seeing is she's being shoved and she's losing her control and not being afraid to go to the ground. And on the way to it, she's going to take charge and use that balance and her positioning to lock up his arm and submit him.
Frank, I imagine you have some more traditional techniques.
Absolutely, and we always want to keep in touch with where we started to understand where we're going. And so what you're seeing here is a technique where he's going to learn to capture the leg, and at the same time he's going to break that knee. He's going to use the momentum from the break to come around and attack the genitals. If he can, grab a testicle, break it, drop him on his head, and again attack the back.